obviously you and I would smell that coming from a mile away, but a lot of young filmmakers or even people who are just not familiar of this side of the business, what can they look out for? What are some signs that we can kind of protect yourself from these predators?
Well, because I've been doing this for 20 plus years, I have to say I've become very jaded around all of that because I am at the point where I literally don't believe a word anybody says to me.
Agreed. Until
I mean,
until the check clears. Until the check clears.
That's the baseline. The baseline is when they say to me, I'm working on this film and it's $1 million budget and I have 300,000. I'm thinking, no, you don't. So let's start there. Let's start with no, you don't.
Prove to me that you have the 300,000.
Yeah, and even then they scam you because I was telling somebody the other day that I had a guy that needed $750,000, and we were looking for proof of funds. And what he did was he delivered me a redacted like a Charles Schwab type of investment account certificate.
Sure.
And it was real. It was real, and it had the name and the Social Security number and all that redacted, so you couldn't see that. But I could see the balance. It was something like $6 million in there. Mm-hmm. And this was a long time ago. This was years ago. And he said, "See, this is my guy, and he's got $6 million, so 750 won't be a problem." So I went with it. I went running around town telling everybody I had $750,000 in the movie. Only come to find out that although the proof of fund paperwork was legit, there was just a friend of his that did him a favor and gave him a piece of paper to use. The guy had no intention of putting any money in the movie. There was nothing connecting the money that I could see to the film that we were trying to put together. So we used to have the phrase, prove the money. And I've had to change that now to move the money.
Into an account that we all agree on.
Yeah. We'll establish the account, you put the money in. And unfortunately, it's come to that. Because if they're not willing to actually move funds
into an escrow account, by the way, that's an escrow account. That's not like a personal account for you. It's an escrow account.
A place to touch that anybody can touch it.
Right.
But just to the physical movement of the funds. Now we have a basis for a conversation. Even then, that's all it is. Right? Because they can take it back out. But at least if it's there, now I have a basis for a conversation to engage. So, what I tell, and this kind of ties into your hypothetical scenario about the filmmaker, that was making their first movie, is that really what I did at the beginning was I got on IMDb Pro back then. This was 20 years ago. And I found a filmmaker randomly who I believed sort of would somebody who I felt like I looked at a couple of them, but I started taking people out to lunch. I started meeting people on the phone. Now I was in a unique position because I had investors, but I didn't have any projects. I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what the requirements were. I didn't know any of that. Mm-hmm. So I went out and I found this executive producer who my deal was I will bring my investors to you. In exchange, I want to be a part of all of this,
process.
And I want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to learn. I want money. I want a credit. I want to build something. So I was in a unique situation, but it worked because by being in those rooms and listening to those meetings and actively participating in all of these conversations, I got to a point where after a while, I thought, I got this. I can do this now on my own. I feel confident enough in being able to do it on my own. And I had watched her make her own mistakes. So I knew what not to do in a lot of cases. So I think today, it's hard to do. I'm not suggesting for a moment it's easy. But I'm saying it because it happens because I'm on the receiving side of that now. So a lot of the times I'll get these random emails and stuff, especially like on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. People say, I'm looking for an executive producer. So for me, executive producer is code for money. So when somebody says to me, I'm looking for an executive producer, my response is, how much? I'm looking for an executive producer. How much do you need? Because who are you kidding? But at the same time, being able to partner or be mentored by or find some way of getting to be around the people who are doing it and are doing it well and who are trustworthy, and have good names and reputations in the industry is really a good way to get started. Because, you were joking, but the truth is most of these people that I meet, they are on the creative side and they don't want to do this stuff. They don't want to learn this stuff. They don't want it. And those people aren't the ones I'm interested in, because I don't want to work with them either. I want to work with people who want to work hard, figure this thing out, and do it the right way. And it's more of a collaboration at that point, So that's really what you have to do. And because if you have a foundation like that, when that guy comes and shows up and says, hey, give me $50K and this is what I'll do for you, you have 2 or 3 point people like me, that have that kind of experience to be able to pick up the phone, shoot an email and go, hey, and I've got probably 10 of those people out there in the world that I have an open policy with. If you have a problem, if you have an issue, if you just want me to look over an agreement or something, I'm happy to take a look at it in order to protect those filmmakers. And I'll tell you, but they have to build that relationship with those people. One of my biggest pet peeves is when somebody just shoots me an email with a pitch package.
Oh, I get them, and I'm not a financer. How does that work? Do your homework.
I must have got 2 or 3 of them today, right? There's no introduction. There's no nice to get to know you. There's no, hey, blah, blah, blah. They just literally send you this long email and then 5 attachments with their script and their pitch deck and all of this. And I'm like, hello, nice to meet you. Like, what happened to a rapport? What happened to earning?
I'm not a piece of meat. I'm not a piece of meat, sir. I have a heart. I have a soul. Try to get to know me, Franco.
But it's true. It's like,
it's right.
It's etiquette. It's courtesy. It's professional. It's diplomatic. It's like, because that's what I'm attracted to, right? I'm attracted to commitment, people who make commitment, people who are willing to go all in and make commitment. And there's a lot of people who say that, that they make commitment, but they're not really there.
Oh no.
I'm interested in people who are willing to go all in and make commitment. But I'm also interested only in people. Look, I say this all the time. I always say there's great projects and shitty people, pardon my French, right? And then there's shitty projects and great people.
Yes.
And then there's great projects and great people. I want the great projects with the great people. Because even if they're shitty projects but they're great people, we can go find another project that's not so shitty and we can still work together.
Right.
But if people is the problem, then I'm out. And anybody who feels that it's okay to bombard anybody's email, yours or mine, with just puking out all of this information without at least making the effort to establish some kind of a rapport is out in my book. They might have a great project and I might pass it out, it might be the next big thing and I lost. But you know what? It would have been a nightmare and I'm not interested in that.